Good morning. I have come with another module which is very important for the computation of salary. This is house rent allowance computation. So we have learned different modules. First two modules I have explained the basic concepts of income tax, the definitions of salary, assessment year, all that. Next one is I have explained computation of residential status in module 3. Module 4 I have explained distinction between capital and revenue. Module 5 incidence of tax. Module 6 onwards we are coming with the complete calculation of salary head of income. So here what we are going to do is each salary computation is divided into different modules. So first module I gave you the explanation, what is salary, what are included in salary, what is the definition of salary, all that. Module 2 in salary, I explained the provident fund. Module 3, computation of gratuity. Module 4, computation of pension. And module 5, computation of leave salary. Module 6, different allowances I have explained. So again and again when I explained the allowance, I told you house rent allowance is very important that I am going to explain as a different module. So that is what I am going to do with this module, that is house rent allowance. I am explaining this as module 6.7, the computation and the theoretical concepts. Please remember that this is very important. So here I told you wherever I am using the sections, it's very important. You have to remember that. So you can see it in the PowerPoint presentation. House rent allowance also I have explained the section. Section 10, subsection 13A. A is capital. So this you can see in the slide. So this also you have to remember. So wherever you are quoting house rent allowance, you can quote the section also. Then there are three cases of HRA. HRA is completely exempted, completely taxable, partially taxable. So this you can expect for theory questions. Now the complete problem for HRA you can expect in the computation of salary income, because HRA is an usual component for a salary person. Basic salary will be there, HRA will be there, CCA will be there, different allowances will be there. So HRA is an usual component and this is very important for the doing the salary problems. So I am going to explain with the help of problems, and all the adjustments related to house rent allowance I will be covering in this module. So listen carefully and then you understand the concepts. Then as I always I'll tell you, maintain a notebook. Write the questions in your notebook. Then you do it in your own way. First you listen to the video and you listen to the lecture. Now this lockdown period, you have time and you have time for all this. So copy the questions in your notebook. Then what you have to do? You have to do it on your own. If you are not getting the right answer, again go back to the video, see that and correct that. See, that is how I'll maintain my notebook. I'll always maintain notebooks for all the subjects. If you can come to my cabin, I can show you the notebooks I maintain. So that is very helpful. If I make a mistake, income tax, every year I'll make a new notebook. So if I'll make a mistake while in the computation, I use it as red ink. So that means when I'll explain in the class also, I'll remember that I made a mistake. Now I have to be careful while I deal with the students or when I'll do it on the board. So that is how you can improve. And I told you, income tax is a scoring paper and how you're going to get marks is based on the hard work you're going to do for learning this subject. There is no shortcut. I have learned this. I have made many notebooks. Again and again I wrote this. That is how I learned these concepts. So that is how I can face you with confidence. Please remember that this is what we expect from students. So I'm going to explain computation of house rent allowance with the help of PowerPoint presentation for theory and for the problems. So I told you house rent allowance computation. The section is important, 10(13)(a). The section you have to remember. So house rent allowance computation is divided into three. I already mentioned house rent allowance is fully taxable, house rent allowance is fully exempted, and house rent allowance is partially taxable. So this is what we are going to explain. So cases when HRA is fully taxable. You can expect this for 2-mark question. So when an employee is living in his own house, see for example in my case I am getting HRA, but I am living in my own house. So that HRA is fully taxable for me. Anybody for that matter. If you are living in the parents' house or in your relative's house where you are not paying any rent, HRA will be fully taxable. Next point is if the employee is living in a house for which he is not paying any rent. See for example you are getting a job and you are coming to a new place. So sometimes you may live in a relative's house or you are living in your grandparents' house, your friend's house, you are not paying any rent. So HRA will be completely taxable. Next point is if the rent paid does not exceed 10% of salary. This we are going to explain with the help of the problems only. I need figures to explain this. See, for example, if I'll tell you an example, HRA, see, for example, if you're getting 3,500 as HRA, but the rent what you're giving, actual rent will be much more. So if you are paying 5,000, so 5,000 into 12, it will be 60,000. Imagine you are in the 3 lakhs is your annual salary. So 10% of salary will be 30,000. So 60,000 minus 30,000, you are getting some exemption. But if the rent paid is only 20,000 for that year and 10% of salary is 30,000. So your HRA will be fully taxable. You don't have, it will not exceed. When we will do the problems, it will be more clear. I can explain with the help of the values. Now this you have to remember, cases when HRA is fully exempted. So this is also important for 2 marks. In the case of Supreme Court and High Court judges, HRA is fully exempted. Next point is HRA is partially taxable. So employees living in rented houses, HRA will be partially taxable. So I told you, if you are not paying rent, you got parents' house, grandparents' house, relatives' house, friends' house, you are not paying rent, meaning HRA will be fully taxable. Or if you are living in your own house, HRA will be fully taxable. But if you are living in a rented house, you have to show the receipt also from the landlord that you are paying rent. Then only you can claim the HRA exemption. So it will be partially taxable. Now the computation I am going to explain. This you have to remember. When you do the problems, it will be more clear. So computation is divided like this. Actual HRA minus exempted amount. Now what are that will be the taxable HRA. Now what are the conditions for finding the exempted amount? So one thing you have to remember, 50% of salary if the employee is living in Mumbai, Calcutta, Delhi or Madras. 4 metros. If you are living in any of this, if they are living in any of these metro cities, it's 50% of salary. Anywhere in India other than these 4 metros, it will be 40% of the salary. Now what is salary I will explain. What is salary for computation of HRA is different. Now actual HRA received. Next point is the amount by which actual rent paid by the employee exceeds 10% of salary. Now I am just telling you the theory only. When we will do the problems, it will be more clear. So taxable HRA is equal to actual HRA received minus exempted amount. Now I told you what is salary for the computation of HRA. I am going to explain. So salary is equal to basic salary plus dearness allowance or dearness pay. See, this I explained when I explained allowances. What is dearness allowance? What is dearness pay? Within bracket, it's given that if it enters into service benefits. So, in the problem, it will be clearly mentioned whether DA is entering into computation of retirement benefits. Then only you have to include the DA or DP. And plus commission on turnover achieved by him. See, those people who are working in marketing job and all, 2% commission on turnover, 3% commission on turnover, they will get. I have included that also in the problem. Now, this is another important point I am going to tell you that salary is taken for the period for which rented accommodation is occupied by the employee during the previous year. In one question we will do 12 months in a year. 8 months he was living with his parents. He was not paying rent. So that HRA will be fully taxable. Remaining 4 months he was shifted to a rented accommodation. Then he will get the exemption. So this is very, very important. You have to see that whether he is living in a rented accommodation, then only he can claim the exemption. Now, coming to the problem, Mr. A is employed in Bangalore on a monthly salary of rupees 30,000 per month. Employer is paying HRA of 3,500 per month. Actual rent paid by the employee is rupees 5,000 per month. I told you always whatever the actual rent they will be paying will be more than the whatever HRA we are receiving from the employer. He is also getting 2% commission on turnover achieved by him. See, salary includes basic salary, dearness allowance and commission. So his turnover in this case is 15 lakhs. So calculate his gross salary. You have to see the question carefully whether it is exempted HRA or taxable HRA or gross salary. So 3 things you can expect. Read the question carefully and find out what is expected. See, if you have to calculate gross salary, you have to calculate HRA also. Now table showing the computation of salary for HRA computation. So here salary is equal to basic salary plus DA. UTE meaning under the terms of employment. This is very, very important. Some examination question paper we will give UTE under the terms of employment. After the DA value, if it's given within bracket UTE, that meaning DA is entering into retirement benefits. Otherwise, in the question, they will mention that enters into or it enters into retirement benefits within bracket. That is how you will distinguish whether DA will be considered or not. Then commission on turnover achieved by him. Now in this question, DA was not there in the question. 30,000 is his monthly salary. 30,000 into 12 plus DA is not there for the employee. So DA is nil and 15 lakhs is the turnover he achieved. On that 2% commission he will get. So that is 30,000. So 30,000 into 12 annual salary is 3,60,000 plus the 30,000 commission he is getting 3,90,000. Now we are going to do the computation of actual HRA because actual HRA received is 3,500. It's given in the question. 3,500 into 12 is 42,000. Now excess of rent paid over 10% of salary. This point I told you when I explained theory. I told you I am going to explain this with the problem. See here in this question 3,500 he is getting as HRA. 5,000 is the rent he is paying. So 5,000 into 12. 60,000 minus 10% of salary. Salary for HRA computation, in the previous slide, we have calculated 3,90,000. So 60,000 minus 39,000, you are getting 21,000. Now, you have to remember this person is working in Bangalore. If he was working in Metro, it will be 50% of salary. So 40% of salary being non-metro city. So 3,90,000. Salary for computation of HRA, we calculated as 3,90,000 into 40 by 100, 1,56,000. Now from this, which will be the exempted value? So 42,000, 21,000 or 1,56,000. So exempted value is 21,000. Taxable HRA is equal to actual minus exempted. Actual HRA received is 42,000, exempted is 21,000, 21,000 will be taxable. Now you can calculate the gross salary. So basic salary 30,000 into 12. 3,60,000. Commission 30,000. Taxable HRA you calculated 21,000. So gross salary you are getting 4,11,000. Now coming to the problem 2. This I have explained as 3 sub-points, 3 sub-questions. So the first question what we are doing to do, compute gross salary of Mr. A from the following information. I told you, you have to read the question carefully and see what they have asked. Whether it is gross salary, exempted HRA or taxable HRA. Though we have to calculate the gross salary, if you want to calculate gross salary, you have to calculate the HRA also. But you have to see the question, what they have asked in the question. That's very important. When you're reading the question, read with an open mind. Find out what they are asked. So basic salary is 35,000 per month. DA is 10,000 per month. CCA is 2,000 per month. HRA is 10,000 per month. Commission on turnover achieved by him is 6,000. He is living in his own house. Dearness allowance, they have not mentioned that it's not entering into retirement benefits. So you have to remember this point. You have to remember if he is living in his own house, it will be fully taxable. You don't have to calculate that HRA exemption at all. Because he is living in his own house, HRA will be fully taxable. So here basic salary 35,000 into 12, 4,20,000. Dearness allowance 10,000 into 12, 1,20,000. City compensatory allowance. This when I explained allowances, I told you if I am living in Bangalore and I am working in Bangalore, I am eligible to get that. Because I am living in a city, expenses will be more compared to working in a rural area. If I work in Tumkur, I will not get the city compensatory allowance because living expenses, cost of living expenses is less in Tumkur. So CCA, if you are working in a city, you will get. Here in this question, you are getting 2,000 into 12, 24,000. So HRA fully taxable because he is living in his own house. 10,000 into 12 is equal to 12,000. Commission is 6,000. So gross salary 5,82,000. Now question number 2 continued. The same information. Mr. A is living in a rented house at Delhi. One thing you have to remember, when he is living in a rented house, he is eligible for partial exemption of HRA. Now Delhi meaning it is a metro city, it will be 50% of salary. Then DA is entering into retirement benefits. Previous problem, it's not mentioned that here DA also you have to include for computation of salary for HRA computation. Rent paid by him is 15,000 per month. Now you have to calculate. This is the gross salary statement. This information I have derived from the next two slides. So basic pay 35,000 into 12, 4,20,000. DA 10,000 into 12, 1,20,000. CCA 2,000 into 12, 24,000. Commission is 6,000. HRA is nil. Now how you are getting nil, I will explain in the next slide. So gross salary is 5,70,000. Remember our question was gross salary computation. Now actual HRA received. He is getting HRA 10,000. 10,000 into 12, 1,20,000. Let's exempt least of the following. So again we are writing actual HRA received 10,000 into 12, 1,20,000. 50% of salary because he is living in Delhi. 50% of salary. How you are getting 5,46,000? I am going to explain in the next slide. We have explained already in the previous problem. That is why I have included in the next slide how this calculation. So 5,46,000 into 1 by 2. 50% is divided by 2. So 2,73,000. Now excess of rent paid over 10% of salary. How you calculate that? 15,000 he is paying rent. 15,000 into 12 is 1,80,000. And 10% of salary for computation of HRA is 5,46,000. So that will be basic salary plus DA plus commission. That I have explained in the next slide. So 5,46,000 into 10 by 100. So 43,000, that is equal to 43,800. So 1,80,000 minus 54,200. So that is equal to 1,25,400. So least value is 1,20,000, that is exempted. So this from this value 1,20,000, 2,73,000, 1,25,400. So now you have to remember that. So this least value is 1,20,000, that is exempted. So taxable HRA is actual HRA received is also 1,20,000. Exempted value is also 1,20,000. So it will be nil. Now how you got 5,46,000? I told you here DA is entering into retirement benefits. So basic salary 35,000 into 12, 4,20,000. DA is 10,000 into 12, 1,20,000. Commission is 6,000. So total salary for the computation of HRA is 5,46,000. Now question number 3, the third sub question for question number 2. So that is, he is living in a rented house at Bangalore. So it's non-metro, Bangalore, and DA is not entering into retirement benefits. And the rent paid by him is rupees 10,000 per month. Previous problem, he was working in Delhi and rent paid by him was 10,000 per month, 15,000 per month. Now here, basic salary, table showing the computation of salary for the computation of HRA. So basic salary is 35,000 into 12, 4,20,000. DA is nil. Not entering into retirement benefits. Commission is 6,000. So total salary for the computation of HRA is 4,26,000. Now table showing the computation of HRA. Actual HRA received 10,000 into 12, 1,20,000. Let's exempt least of the following. Actual HRA received 10,000 into 12, 1,20,000. 40% of salary because it's non-metro city. 4,20,000 into 40 by 100, 1,70,400. Now, excess of rent paid over 10% of salary. So here he is paying rent of 10,000. 10,000 into 12 minus 4,20,000 into 10 by 100. So the value is 77,400. Least value is 77,400. So that is the exempted HRA. Taxable HRA is actual HRA minus exempted HRA. 1,20,000 minus 77,400. So that is 42,600. Now you have to take the computation of gross salary. So basic salary 35,000 into 12, 4,20,000. DA 10,000 into 12, 1,20,000. City compensatory allowance 2,000 into 12, 24,000. HRA 42,600. We have calculated in the previous slide. So commission is 6,000. Gross salary, adding up all these values, you will get 6,12,600. So this is the computation. Now we are going to one more problem. So compute the gross salary of Mr. J working in Delhi from the following particulars. This problem I told you, 8 months he was living in with his parents. So he is not paying rent. HRA will be fully taxable. Remaining 4 months he is shifting into a rented accommodation. There he will get partial exemption. So this adjustment you have to remember carefully in the question. When you get a question, you have to see that whether he is staying in his own house or whether he is paying rent. That is the most important criteria to distinguish whether HRA is taxable or his HRA he is eligible to get partial exemption. So salary 28,000 per month, 3,36,000. DA 10,000 per month, 1,20,000. Now it's not entering into under the terms of employment. It's not entering into retirement benefits. Now bonus is 28,000. He was living with his father without paying any rent and was getting HRA at the rate of rupees 10,000 per month from 1/12/19 from December. So December, January, February, March. 4 months he has shifted to rented accommodation. So in the previous year, 12 months, 8 months, April 1st to November 30th. He was staying with his parents 8 months. His HRA will be fully taxable and was paying a rent of rupees 15,000 per month. His HRA was also increased to 12,000 per month from that date. So first HRA when it's fully taxable it's 10,000. When he's partially able to claim that HRA exemption, HRA is 12,000 per month. His salary is due on the last day of the month. So now you know the difference between salary is due on the last day of the month or salary is due on the first of the next month. So here table showing the computation of salary for HRA. He was living with his father without paying rent from 1/4/19 to 31/11/19. April 1st to November 30th, 8 months. HRA is fully taxable. 1/12/19 to 31/3/2020. That is 4 months. HRA exemption can be claimed as he is staying in a rented house. This is for 4 months. DA is not entering into computation of HRA. So salary for HRA computation is only basic salary for 4 months. There is no commission in this question. So that is 28,000 into 4, 1,12,000. Now table showing the computation of HRA for 4 months from 1/12/19 to 31/3/2020. So actual HRA received. There only he is getting the exemption. 12,000 into 4. His HRA is increased from 10,000 to 12,000. So 12,000 into 4, 48,000. Let's exempt least of the following. 50% of salary being metro city. That is Delhi. 1,12,000. How you are getting 1,12,000? Into 50 by 100. It's already explained how you are getting 1,12,000. Into 50 by 100, that is 56,000. Now excess of rent paid over 10% of salary. So rent paid is 15,000 into 4 minus 1,12,000 into 10 by 100. So 15 into 4, 4 months only. 60,000 minus 11,200, it's 48,800. So actual HRA received is 12,000 into 4, 48,000. Exempted HRA is also 48,000. So because the least value, either 56,000, 48,000 or 48,800. So taxable HRA is nil. Actual HRA minus exempted HRA. It is nil. Now we go to the table showing the computation of gross salary. Basic salary 28,000 into 12. Only for HRA we are taking it as 4 months exempt, 4 months partially exemption and 8 months fully taxable. This we are taking the gross salary. Salary for 12 months. Basic salary 28,000 into 12, 3,36,000. DA 10,000 into 12, 1,20,000. Bonus is 28,000. So HRA for 8 months fully taxable. 10,000 into 8, 80,000. HRA for 4 months it's nil. So gross salary is 5,64,000. So I want to tell you that this is the computation of house rent allowance and it's very, very important. I have seen all the salary problems with HRA computation. So you have to distinguish whether HRA is completely taxable or HRA is partially taxable. Exempted category we may not get. We are not Supreme Court or High Court judges. Only they will get that privilege. So here you have to make a distinction between whether it's fully taxable or whether it's partially taxable. And I told you, you have to remember the section. It's 1013A. Then you have to remember theory questions are also important. When HRA is completely exempted, when HRA is partially taxable, when HRA is fully taxable. Then this problem also I told you. See, one problem we worked out, 8 months is fully taxable. The last problem we worked out because he was staying with his parents. He was not paying rent. And 4 months it is partially taxable. So read the question carefully and find out that how the taxability of HRA, because this is very, very important. So that's the module, and I hope that it's clear to you. And I'll see you with the next module where I'm going to explain the perquisites. You might have heard the term perquisites. So the first module I will explain the theory. What are perquisites? What do you mean by perquisites? What is the taxability of that? So that is how we are going to explain that. That will be the next module. I'll see you with the next module. Thank you for watching and give me your feedback, suggestions, how I can improve. If I made any mistake, please point out that so that I can improve and I can be a better teacher. I hope that all are keeping fine and safe. Take care of your health, stay safe and avoid, because everybody is telling that social distancing. Please make sure that you are following all the rules and regulations. Somehow we will get out of this COVID-19 epidemic. Thank you for listening. Have a good day. Thank you.